Is he? We'd like to call the regular city council meeting to order. As I indicated earlier, I'm Monica Aug7. I'm the mayor pro tempore for the city of Leon Valley, and I am here presiding because the mayor, Chris Riley, is on a well-deserved vacation and not able to attend the meeting. All councilors are here, including David Edwards, who's participating by Skype from his vacation home. And we'd like to have Mr. Pedro Esquivel lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Esquivel. Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you very much. At this time, we also have a special birthday for our city manager, and we'd like to sing happy birthday to her. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. And now you're back to work, Kelly. We have a presentation, discussion, and workshop on an ordinance approving and adopting fiscal year 2018-2019 budgets and associated capital acquisition plans, and ratifying fiscal year 2018-2019 general fund budget.
Yeah, ma'am, may I ask if the city secretary just said that Mr. Esquivel needs to leave before we go through the whole budget, and if you could please have citizens to be heard first.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Well, does anybody object to that order?
I've got one other. Would it be possible with the other councilors, with everybody involved here, can we move item, where is it? The American Legion item, can we move that right after the citizens to be heard? And
is that something that is possible?
You can move whatever you want.
Okay. Does anybody have an objection to that?
No.
Mr. Jordan?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No objection.
Any objection, Councilor Edwards?
No.
All right, thank you. Then we will do that. We'll first have the citizens to be heard. Mr. Esquivel, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. I'm glad to be here. I'll be very brief. I just have a couple of comments, and then my family is here also. We've lived here for about 30 years, and we've had the opportunity to access the services of just about every department here in Leon Valley. And I must say that I compliment you. I think you have an excellent staff, and I think all they need is your support, and know, of course, they know what they need. But as a citizen, I've had the opportunity to observe this, and I think they need all the support they can get from you. Unequivocal. They deserve it. He protects us. They have families too, and their families sacrifice just like we do. I've had occasion to access your services, particularly critical in two instances. Some I'm not going to detail, but I've been wanting to come here before, but time constraints and physical constraints prevented me to do that. So I'm glad I have this opportunity to tell you and ask you to please give them 100% of your support. Without them, we would not exist. Without them, we would not have Leon Valley be what it is. You ought to be proud of the people that you hire to do the work that is necessary to keep the citizens happy. In spite of tax increases, I don't know of any people, I have not known of any people who have protected too strongly about where that money is going to. I can go down the list: Public Works, Police Department, Fire Department, the city itself. All I'm asking that you consider them and that you support them as we have. Maybe a little bit better because I don't have that kind of money. But anyway, and certainly, I'm not going to forget the city secretary who's behind the scenes making sure everything. Now I ask my family to also thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And with that,
Can you please come to the podium and state your name and that you live in Leon Valley or where you live?
I'm his eldest daughter, Mary, and I'd just like to thank you for all you've done and the support that you've shown my family and my father and mother. We appreciate it as a family immensely. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
with that, I'll adjourn. We too have a birthday party where the rest of the family is waiting, and celebrating my wife's 80th birthday.
Tell her
They're
happy
about-
birthday.
There are about 3 generations here, so we're not going to go away for a long time. Youngest being from about 3 months to, how old did you say it was? 50. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I will adjourn.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Esquivel and the family.
Thank you.
It's a little older than our city manager. Okay, we will move to regular agenda item number 8. Oh, I'm sorry. Did anybody else also want to speak? You have an opportunity to speak at any time during the meeting by just raising your hand or coming to the podium at the appropriate time. And I forgot to mention, if anybody that has a cell phone, if you'll be sure to silence it at this time. We had a couple of things go off, phones go off, including a staff member, my husband, and the mayor last meeting, and we need to make sure that doesn't happen. All right, now we'll move to regular agenda item number 8.1. Discuss and consider possible action on an in-kind grant request by the American Legion Post number 336 for use of the Leon Valley Conference Center at 6421 Evers Road for 9/11 Remembrance Event, M&C number 2018-08-07-08. And Maribel Mendoza will be presenting, and I think Walter Garrity is here in case there's other questions.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. We received an in-kind grant request for the Leon Valley American Legion number 336, requesting the Leon Valley Conference Center Sunday, September 9, 2018 for a 9/11 Remembrance event. The request includes the use of the facility, security, cleaning, deposit, so a waiver of all fees. They have given the deposit to hold the date, so we do have that amount. The event will begin in the evening at 6 p.m. and will end at 9. The setup will begin at 4 p.m. on the same day as the event, so from 4 to 9. They're proposing to provide their own security, the setup, cleanup of the materials, products they bring into the facility. However, at the end of the event, we would still clean up the facility the following day. And the date and the facility are available for use. So the in-kind grant committee members evaluated the request based on the criteria outlined in the grant policy, and the maximum score is a 30, and they scored a medium average of 21, resulting in a recommendation of approval. So on September 19th, 2017, the City Council voted to require a deposit, which they have given, no longer waive cleanup costs, no longer waive security, and add a setup fee, which would be the same as a cleanup fee, and do not waive the fee at the discretion of each application coming to council. Council having the discretion to modify as situation warrants. Now, in regards to this, I have been researching the in-kind grant process itself, and we'll come back August 21st with updates of the policy. And the physical impact would be $1,351. Again, they have given the deposit. It does align with our C statement, and our committee recommends for approval by the in-kind grant committee with a score of 21. And the American Legion, they are here for any questions or any comments.
So I have a comment or a question for you.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
said bringing back on the 21st
City Council meeting?
the updates or proposed updates
Correct.
for it, because right now it's pretty duplicitous and inconsistent in what's happening.
Correct.
So, but the American Legion is here under the present
Correct, yes, ma'am.
status. So understanding that, does anybody have any questions for or comments for Ms. Mendoza or Walter Garrity? Hearing none from the those present here, does anybody have, or Mr. Garrity, would you like to make a comment?
Mayor, council members, citizens all. I have many of the members of a very successful American Legion Post 336. I would ask our post members, we're state champions. Out of 472 American Legion posts in Texas, our color guard team is going to Minneapolis, Minnesota to represent the whole state of Texas in the color guard honor guard competition to represent the American Legion state of Texas. And the people that are in the color guard team, would you please rise? This is your American Legion State Championship. For that, we're going to Minneapolis to represent the state of Texas. Would other members of the American Legion in the audience, would they please rise? A lot. And we have a couple out there in the hallway too. Thank you. Our post has been putting this event on for the last 9 years. This is one of the American Legion premier programs. Actually, the Post gets credit under the Post Consolidated Report. Not only the actions of the American Legion members being here tonight, we do participate in many activities within the community. We have over 200 programs. Also, one of the things that we're requested to do is put on 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony, partner with cities, with communities, with schools. We always partner with the city of Leon Valley because we're very proud that we're here in Leon Valley. As you remember, the name of our post is Audie L. Murphy. L stands for Leon. How appropriate. Audie Leon Murphy, American Legion Post 336. So once again, we ask this request, any extra food we pay for, drinks, food. At the end of the event, we always take the food either to the fire department or to the police department if we can get in. Every year we provide how many, 20, probably 15 or 20 or 30 meals to either the fire department or police department. So we'd appreciate your approval for this. And our new incoming commander, I'm stepping down as post commander, and I've been elevated and elected unanimously as the district commander. I've already taken office, so I'm your new district commander in San Antonio, the American Legion, 18 posts in 18 posts and 6,000 members of the American Legion. Spencer, would you like to say something? And he also is a Leon Valley resident. His name is Spencer Spriesterbach.
Yes,
Excuse me, sir, do you need to spell that for?
Sure. Spriesterbach.
Thank you, sir.
One more time?
Spriesterbach. And I've been a member of the post for 10 years and a resident of Leon Valley for 11 years over at 6621 Countess Adria. And, you know, I'm proud to be a resident, and I'm proud to be a member of this post and be associated with the city of Leon Valley. We hold our general membership meetings in coordination with the Leon Valley Elementary School throughout the school year in the school cafeteria. We've been asked to, we led the parade, the 4th of July parade, approximately 9-10 years ago when we first formed our color guard, before the city had their elite fire department color guard. It's very sharp, but we led that parade at one time, and we continue to march and support the parade and support the community. We're contributors to the Leon Valley Blue Santa program, and we hope you guys approve our request. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. And I'd just like to say it's very nice to see younger members, and particularly women, joining your Legion. Any other comments? Yes, Councilor Jordan?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, I got a phone call from Mr. Garrity here a while back, and he said, did you forget something? And I said, no, I don't think so. He said, well, you haven't paid your dues. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. I'll go ahead and drop them by. He's like, no, it's okay. I'm at your front door. I said, well, okay. I'm on my way home. It'll be about 30 minutes. He said, it's okay. I'll wait. So I had to swing by the ATM, got my money, pay my dues, and that's how aggressive and passionate Mr. Garrity is in reference to the American Legion posts. And we appreciate y'all being in the city of Leon Valley. I know a few years back, I guess it was the national commander came down and did a march in our Leon Valley Park and was able to highlight the city of Leon Valley. So there's been great leadership under the direction of Mr. Garrity, and I'd like to make a motion that we approve this in-kind grant as requested.
A question or a second? Is there a question before the
I'll
second?
second it, but I have a question.
All right, Mr. Councilor Martinez.
This event, is it open to the public? And if it is, are you going to advertise it?
City of Leon Valley has done a wonderful job in past years communicating with the local media, TV, radio, newspapers, and we've actually had very good coverage from Channel 5, Channel 12. We've never had Channel 4 out here. But that's why every year we partner with the City of Leon Valley. This is really a wonderful occasion to celebrate the event, celebrate Leon Valley. And as you know, I hope we're going to be invited, the state champions, to the dedication of the bridge for Mr. Perez when that happens, probably within maybe a week or two. Yes, we will partner with City of Leon Valley. They have extensive resources to contact all the local media, more than we have, but we will be doing that, spreading the word, and we will do that, yes.
Thank you.
Just a point of clarification, the bridge is tentatively scheduled for traffic maybe by August 20th, but the dedication won't be until later in the year when it's all completed, the sidewalk and everything completed. But we have a motion from Councilor Jordan and a second by Councilor Martinez. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? The motion does carry.
Thank you, Mayor, and we'd like for everybody to come out to the event. Like I said, free food, drinks, not beer, not liquor or anything like that, but please come out and have a celebration with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Moving back to item
Yeah, I'll use it for a pointer.
2, the presentations. 2.1, presentation, discussion, and workshop of an ordinance approving and adopting fiscal year 2018-2019 budgets and associated capital acquisition plans, and ratifying fiscal year 2018-2019 general fund budget. Ms. Kienzler, thank you for coming.
Mayor Pro Tem Council, this is the second budget workshop, which your first one was held July 17th. How many grad students are here? Let's take count. How many hands do you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're missing some. Okay. Thank you.
Councilor Jordan said he's here.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So the changes from the July 17th workshop, where you all had a discussion about the marquee sign at the library, that has been reduced from $60,000 to $30,000. We have reduced health inspections in the Community Development Department by $10,300, and we have added $74,447 for a business relations specialist position. That would be allocated as follows. It doesn't mean its workload necessarily is allocated like that. It's the way we can do it in the budget. And that's 75% out of the Community Development Department, and then 25% out of the Economic and Community Development, 1/8% sales tax that the voters voted to put in the general fund in November of last year. What that position is, if you could go back, I just want to make sure what that position is I heard, I'll show it to you during the manager's report. We are in the middle of the Texas Town and City magazine this month. Our On It team is featured. And so what I hear from the council is, we want this continued On It approach. And then I hear from a few council members, we want an economic development director. Well, trying to fit everything in is hard. And so the team got together and we tried to figure out a way where we could come up with a compromise and try to appease everybody. We came up with a position called a business relations specialist. And what that person would do, certainly still stay on the audit team, certainly still be about compliance, but we were hoping that with a full-time position, we could get the rest of that audit finished, and then that person would take a more proactive approach instead of the reactive approach that we've been forced to take these last couple of years because nothing has been done about compliance on these businesses on Bandera Road. They would work as part of the Community Development Department and the Economic Department as well, Economic Development Department as well. So a description has not yet been even drafted for this position, but it was an idea on how we could keep the compliance going, yet throw in the economic development with it. And then that person, as they're going out, would take the class. It's a 1-week class to be able to do the health inspections, and that's where you get the deduction of the 10.3 for the health inspections. Did I do that or you? Oh, sorry. I think I better let you drive. Okay, so overview for FY19, we're projecting a fund balance in the general fund of about $1.436 million. This changed from the last presentation, and I believe, are their budget books corrected? Okay, so your or have not been corrected yet, so we'll still need to do that. But this changed because of the changes that you just saw on those previous few slides. Capital reserve, $1.436 million in the emergency fund, leaving you an estimated fund balance of $2.436 million. The emergency fund alone represents a month of operating income. Yes, sir.
How does that change, positive or negative?
Well, if you go back to the slides from the beginning, it would change, it would reduced it by $30,000 because of the marquee sign in the general fund. It reduced health inspections by $10,300, so that would be a $40,300 reduction, but then we added 74.4 for the business relation specialist, so it actually would have increased the budget.
I'm trying to see that in the packet.
So that has not been
Hasn't been updated.
updated yet.
Hasn't been updated.
It would have been nice to see the present and then the changes and noted whether it's positive or negative.
Okay, so I'm going to be able to show you that up here. As we go along, you'll be able to see that. So the first screen definitely tells you, if you go back to that first screen again, Vicki, the first one is to the positive, the second one is to the positive, the third one is to the negative. But the third one, out of the economic and community development, you're really just taking the 18,687 out of project funding and moving it into the position. So that's the switching around of money right there. And that was based on what you asked or comments that we heard last time.
Okay, but now, if I understand this correct, the health inspector is a contractor right now.
That's correct.
And you're going to take that duty away from that contractor and give it to a full-time employee.
That's correct.
That has now 3 jobs. She's going to be doing.
That's what they do anyway. So what they do is they go out there and they wait for the health inspector to come, and then they let the health inspector sign off on it. So instead, they can just do it. It doesn't take that long. And so that was the team's idea that works on this daily.
Wait, the health inspector doesn't do the inspections?
No, a health inspector would do the inspections, but the health inspector would be a city-certified health inspector instead of us having to contract with one. Just like you see in cities all the time.
Right.
You see them doing that with building inspectors as well. So it's the same approach.
The inspector goes out with their thermometer to the restaurant and sticks it in the cold deal or goes in the freezer and checks the temperatures and stuff. So that takes time.
That's correct.
So it probably takes half an hour to an hour to do an inspection on each restaurant. So now you've got one person that's going to be doing that. They're going to be doing the inspections for certificate of occupancy and stuff. And now they're also going to be doing economic and community development. So they're going to be doing 3 functions.
So they'll really be doing, you say in the certificates of occupancy, the goal is to have them finished, get the audit finished, so that it's really more of a proactive person with the businesses than a reactive person.
Well, I am going proactive. I support that 1,000%. I do not like the enforcement or the negative, and we need to do stuff to improve our city image.
Oh,
So that's what the
I'm sorry.
position is for.
Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. Did I just understand you to say that the city employee is going to be there primarily most of the time when the inspector is there at the home location doing the inspection?
They'll do the inspection. So instead of us calling somebody out, when we have to go to a business anyway and check on a certificate of occupancy, we can throw a thermometer in and check the water. And then we don't have to call somebody to do it.
Right, that's what I'm trying to say, the same thing. But so technically the employee is going to be there on site anyway at the same time, right? And ensuring that our businesses are in compliance is the right thing to do, as long as once we get these businesses in the audit complete, it's basically going to be annual inspections and a matter of maintenance versus trying to catch up and not do what we have been doing.
That is correct.
So to me, if this person is going to be sent to a school, to a class, and trained as the money's been allocated for, then that person will be certified to do that task at the same time, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So they're going to be there anyway. They can stick the thermometer in, as Councilor Martinez described, and
I have
that'll
a
save the
question,
taxpayers some money. Yes, Dr. Edwards?
Excuse me. how many businesses do we still need to visit, to clean up things like certificate of occupancy and code and that's make sure people are paying their taxes to the right city and so on. How many more do we have to visit? And then how many have we visited?
Dr. Edwards, Council, we have 50% of the businesses completely audited, so we still need another 50%. But that's been by a person who's been doing it 15 hours a week, along with another duty. So.
And how long do you anticipate that it would take to complete that?
If we get a full-time person, I would anticipate we could easily get it done within 3 to 6 months, if that's all they were doing.
Yeah. Is this the $74,000 business relations specialist? Is this what was referred to in an email as the compromise?
Yes, that's the email that I sent you, Dr. Edwards, Council, yes. I actually called a staff meeting with most of the audit team just to find out what they thought we could do because it appeared that half of the council did not want or did not feel the need for an economic development position, and a couple of you did, so I was trying to attempt to come up with a compromise. And we had actually told the person who's doing our audits right now that he would be doing them for about 6 months. We're coming up on 2 years. And so, they should have been done already.
I have to intervene. I apologize. Dr. Edwards, you need to put your phone facing you. The audience has to see your face the entire time that you are on. And so the council can see your face, but when you put the phone...
I will certainly do that if you guys speak up a little bit so I can hear you.
Okay. I'm just letting you know from the audience perspective, they need to be able to see your face.
I'm sorry, we couldn't.
Straining.
Dr. Edwards, if you'll hold on just a minute, there was a problem. Will you repeat what you said, please?
Okay.
So you were saying something, we could see you talking but not hear you.
Right. I was doing that because I cannot hear what you guys are saying at some points, the other council people and staff. So I was having to hold the phone up as close as I could to my ear. I didn't realize that I was obscuring my face.
Okay, thank you.
Now, I had another question. I'm in favor of presenting a great face towards the community and, cleaning up these issues, but still I don't think it addresses the need to, recruit more businesses. And that's what I think some of the council wanted to see an executive director for economic development. And I'm just wondering if we need to maybe get more feedback from the community, like put it before a coffee and see what the citizens think. Do they think we need an executive director?
Dr. Edwards, Council, there's not time for that. You're in a budget season right now where you have a budget that's due. So you could certainly call constituents or ask colleagues what they think, but the next coffee is scheduled for October. Your budget hearing is August the 21st. So there's not time for that.
Well, could there be, this is I don't know what your term, I remember you used some term where you set aside a certain amount of money for a task, like a holding space in the budget. Is there any way to do that so that there'd be enough to hire an executive director?
So sure, the 74,447, if the council does not desire to do the business relations specialist, we can set that aside, and that can be for your economic development director. Of course, we'll have to redo the funding because community development department shouldn't pay for that, and we'll just take it. It's not hard to do that at all. You could even literally add a business relations specialist like this one to stay with the audit team and hire a economic development director out of your 1/8%. What you would do is you would just reduce your project funding. So absolutely, you could vote to do that the next meeting, and it wouldn't change this presentation one bit. You could literally tell us at the next meeting, the council could vote to not adopt the budget as it's presented, but instead to adopt it by decreasing your funding in the economic and community development funds in the category project and moving it to an economic development director position, and that could be easily done.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Those are the questions I had.
Okay,
Counselor
thank you.
Jordan?
Can you see?
Under that last scenario that you just gave, City Manager, will we still be paying overtime for the businesses to be inspected? That's, somebody still has to do that job, right? So.
Counselor Alcacer, Counselor Jordan, no. There would be no more overtime paid.
Okay, so who's going to continue on with the remaining 50% of the inspections?
The business relations specialist. We'll get them knocked out because it'll be a 40-hour-a-week position. We'll do, honestly, we've done the hard ones. Now we need to finish up. I'm not saying we're not going to run into more problems, but we've run into some really bad problems. And we do not anticipate those same problems as we continue to go at Bandera.
So let me clarify my understanding. Are you saying we have a business relations specialist position and economic development position?
I'm not proposing that.
No, I'm just asking your last scenario that you
Yes,
explained.
the last scenario that I just explained to Dr. Edwards, that was correct. You would keep that position, and then you would hire an economic development director under that 1/8% if that's what you wanted to do, or you could get rid of the business relations specialist and say you don't like that idea and go with the economic development director, or you could do none of the above. You're the policymakers. You all get to decide that. We were just trying to come up with some ideas for you in order to try to find a cohesive place for the council to be.
So I'm still trying to figure who's going to do the inspections.
So
If we have a full-time economic development person, which some of the councilors want, which is 100% sound like to me, focused on retaining and attracting new businesses, that's their 100% job, then who's going to do the inspections as far as the current businesses like we're doing right now?
So we have a contractor that does our building inspections. That contractor stayed in the budget. We have a contractor that does our health inspections. We took that portion out because that's a really easy part and applied it towards this position. So this position would be your business relations specialist, according to our team. Once this position, possibly we could borrow somebody else, would get the audit finished, and then, as I said, turn it around and take more of a proactive approach, because now we've done, I said the audit would be done in 2 years. It's obviously going to take longer than that. But the audits would be done, and then this person would be there for business relations.
Okay,
there to make sure people stay in compliance, and anything we can do to keep them in compliance. All that does is it helps the business. It aids the business in its survivability rate.
Right. Well, to me, ensuring the city is in compliance is economic development.
Absolutely.
Portion of it.
Absolutely.
But do you know the market rate of a economic development director for a city this size in this area, if we had to announce for one?
I'm going to guess, I don't know the market rate. Crystal's not in here, but I think she may have looked it up, but I'm going to guess it's probably about $75,000 plus benefits. Am I right? Economic development? Almost 85,000. Not including benefits. So you would do 85,000 and then add about a third to that.
So 100 plus.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
I'd like to comment on that also. That would take the majority of the budget from economic development and not allow it, which is supposed to be half community development and half economic development, and that would pretty much use up that budget. It seems to me that what we're doing is has begun to work. We didn't expect what we found. We can still find things like that, but to have a regular person working on that who can also work on the relations with various businesses along with the community development Development Department, it seems to me that we, at this point, should listen to the recommendation of the people who have been doing it for about 2 years and who did get commended. This is available for anybody to see, I think, through the staff, but we're statewide getting a recognition for the program that we're doing, and we need to complete it so we don't look like maybe dummies. But we also have ongoing things, and that's the whole purpose of this specialist, to complete it and work with the businesses and then possibly transition to economic development or have more in that area toward the end of the next 6-8 years, months, and have it in next year's budget to be able to determine what's needed.
Well, yeah, you could do a 1-year trial period for this position and so we can see how it works. But don't forget that we also have Maribel Mendoza, who's been helping with economic development as well.
Yeah, so
it's not like that's the only, and of course, I've been doing the major ones, so.
And we are getting new businesses.
Oh, yeah.
Very regularly. Mr. Martinez, Counselor.
Like I stated earlier, I like the idea of the business development specialist. It takes the position away from as an enforcement on these audit inspections, and it turns it proactive. So I am all in favor of that portion of it, and I'm also in favor of giving that person the additional duty of health inspector. But what I am against is I view the economic development, community development director as a completely different set of skills, and that person needs to be more of a cheerleader, for a lack of a better word. You need somebody that's really outgoing, somebody that's going to go out there and beat the bushes and look for businesses to locate here in Leon Valley. And like I said, the mindset and the duties are, to me, like night and day. They're not compatible. That's just my comments. Thank you.
Ms. Rodriguez, Councilor Rodriguez, do you have any comments on that?
I simply like the fact of the business relations specialist, because they will be encompassing the things that we are having at present to be contracting out. To me, it would seem more feasible for us to have a single person already within the city that takes care of the things that needs to be taken care of, again, instead of having to contract and then having to pay extra cost or wait time that this employee could, I guess, minimize because they're already there. They will know what they need to do. And if it's just going to take minimal training for this individual, then to me it would seem like a good venture to take. And that's it.
Thank you. Ms. Keemsler, it's back with you.
Thank you. Okay, so if we could move forward. I think emergency fund represents 1 month of operating income. If you combine both of the funds, you have a balance of 2.6 months of operating income. Your policy says that after the audit, if there's savings, you can consider looking at moving more of that into the emergency fund if you'd like to. As presented in FY19, the general fund is balanced, and balancing your fund is required by law. Operating revenues, highlights, the operating revenues remain the same as in the last budget presentation. What's different is the tax rate. It's now at 545,877. Property values are higher. We now have a little better of idea on what we're going to lose to appeals within about a 5% margin rate. This amounts to just over a penny. And the first time I presented to you, it was 0.015. So it was a penny and a half last time. So it went from a penny and a half to just a tad bit over a penny for the reduction. This is also the calculated effective tax rate, which is why we can adopt this August the 21st and be done. No public hearings are required when you adopt the effective tax rate. Revenue highlights, this stayed the same. Tax year market value for Leon Valley started at 1.113. As of certification, the 2018 tax year market value was $1.099 billion. An appeals loss of $33 million as of certification, and we lost about $28.5 million to appeals in 18. So what happened is about $4.5 million more was lost in appeals than we lost in FY18. Your ad valorem tax revenue for the tax year 2018 increased by $411,000 over 17. Your revenue highlights, what we did here is just a table that separates your maintenance and operations tax from your interest and sinking funds. And you will notice that at the bottom, the total, for FY18, the adopted, that's your tax rate. The FY19 proposed, the 0.545877, that would become your tax rate. And if you notice in the last column the difference, it's a lower tax rate than last year. Official tax rate calculations, effective, 0. So we are going to stay at our effective rate. And your effective rate is what does it cost you to run the city? The rollback rate, rollback is a little bit lower. This is the calculated maximum rate that's calculated by law without voter approval. Average taxable home values, the last sheet that we gave you said that your home values were going to increase by $32.34. It actually increased by about $6.70 based on the latest from Bexar County. So their increase now is approximately $39 with an average home value increase of $10,300. So that was a change. Your property tax levy graph stayed the same. Revenue loss from property tax freeze. Of course, that's people that are over 65 or have other exemptions. Tax history rate. This slide changed from your last slide. We told you that INS rate, even though we switched the 2009 refunding debt to the debt on the City Hall to try to make up for it, the INS rate still went down more than we anticipated.
Excuse me, can you just explain the terms INS and M&O as you're going?
Yes. In the last slide, I had said the M&O is the maintenance and operations, which that's what costs you to run the city. The INS is the interest and sinking, and that's what it cost us to pay for our debts. Okay? And so what you see now is that your INS rate is actually lower than what you got at the last budget hearing in July. We gave you a 0.541599, and so as you can see, that's lower now. Outstanding debt, everything there remained the same from last slide. Projected revenue increases or decreases, everything stayed the same. New projected revenue, everything stayed the same. Stop me if you have any questions along the way. I just don't want to repeat since we've already done it, and I don't want to take up more time than you need. Expenditure highlights, 11.2. There was an increase of $1,150,987. That's because of your impound lot and your red light cameras. Huge decrease on the capital expenditure side, and that's because of the Evers Road Bridge. Fund balance history, those numbers changed a little bit. They dropped from last time by about $16,000. General fund budget summary, the bottom number, and this is what's going to need to get changed in your book, but the ending fund balance changed, and it's consistent with the previous slide, the bar slide that you saw. So now it's 1.436121 is going to be your ending fund balance, not counting, of course, your other million that you have in emergencies. General fund revenue summary. The other grants at the bottom, you see an other in grants, the large, almost $1.2 million reduction. That was your Evers Road Bridge. Right above that, you see $1.968 million increase, which is significant. That's because the red light camera in the impound lot. And then on your franchise fees, we talked about that last time. You see a decrease because of folks cutting cable primarily, and we're not. So they're going from like Netflix, from Time Warner to Netflix, and then they're also, or Hulu or whatever. And then also we're seeing less franchise fees from AT&T. General government expenditures. This includes the business office, the manager, the finance, and the council. Everything here stayed the same. Business office, these are your municipal court expenses, and nothing changed here. Finance, nothing changed under finance. Manager and council, nothing changed under manager and council. So the one capital item for manager and council is a copier and scanner for the big area, the mail room. And then we have on our capital plan for a smaller copier scanner for this area for next year. So that remained in the budget. Police expenditures, these are general fund only. I explained last time that $50,000 capital is for the forklift for the impound lot, and the increase in contractual services is for the Paws Ranch. This slide right here did not change, but just keep in mind it does not include your red light camera revenue. Police, here you have the same thing, the impound lot, and these are capital items, but none of them are coming out of the general fund. One will come out of the impound lot, the other are all proposed to come out of the forfeiture funds. So you have no general fund money coming out of this page. Major items on the impound lot, also 63.3 for a full-time position. Right now we have one position that works in the impound lot, and we have assessed the volume, and we need 2 people. Police red light camera tier 1 expenditures, administration. This is where the state gets 50%. Nothing has changed on this slide that I can see. And somebody asked last time about the extra cameras. They're not, because we've not done the engineering for them. They've not been vetted by the Police Advisory Committee. They've not come before this board. The extra red light cameras are not part of this. They will have to be done in an adjustment in the new fiscal year. Red light camera tier 1 contractual category expenditures, nothing changed there. Red light camera tier 2 expenditures, that's that leftover 50% that you can fund traffic officers and traffic related expenses, nothing changed there. Red light camera tier 2 contractual, nothing changed. Police red light camera funds there, 41,003. I just want to remind you that money is for 8 patrol cars, and the $40,000 is for 1 police traffic vehicle. Last time we had in there 2. And then the Jaws of Life that we discussed last time. Major items under red light camera funds are the contract, and then the police chief would like to add an additional officer in tier 2. Under your fire expenditures, they remain the same. Fire contractual category, that remained the same. Capital items for the fire department remain the same. There was a question last time about that headset radio system. That is for 1. And then we still have a place marker in there at $50,000 for a safety consultant for the fire department. That will either come in the form of consulting, training, we're just not sure yet, but we're putting that place marker in there for the time being. Public works expenditures, that did change a little bit because we dropped it. The marquee sign, remember we had $60,000 in there and we dropped that by $30,000. So you'll notice if you go down for the FY 18-19 budget, it now reads 1677373. And on the last slide, right above it, your capital reads $245,000. The last slide that you had, your capital was $275, and that's because that was that marquee sign funded in full. Public Works category expenditures here did not change. The capital did change, however. We reduced the marquee to $30,000. Don't forget that $20,000 is for new sidewalks and the $130,000 is for one dump truck, not trucks. Public Works, $20,000 for the oak wilt fungicide and trenching. We talked last time about cutting the Forest Grove and Forest View trench from a private company, and then they will pick one heritage tree and see how that works for the injection. Community development expenditures, they changed a little bit, and that's because of the business relations specialist. So your personnel services, you had an increase of 72,000 in there. It was 50-something thousand, but that increased because, no, I'm sorry, it increased by 59,000. And then we eliminated the health inspector, which would be under contractual services, and the plotter stayed in there. So that slide definitely changed a little bit. That slide should not have changed. Yes, it did. The health inspector. Do you see the third line down, the 11.3? So we went ahead and left $2,000 in there for the transition period, and then $9,300. So that significantly reduced that health inspector position. So we feel that that person could start doing that in-house. Community development capital items, $12,000 for a plotter. That did not change. Major items in community development has changed. Permitting software stayed in there, but then we added the 74.7 for the business relations specialist. Again, council decision, just trying to give you options. Economic development expenditures, you see that the project funding was reduced so that we could pay for part of the business relations specialist. You'll be able to see that on the next page. That 46,466 at the end of personal services. So now would fund a portion of the city manager, the city attorney, and then the new portion of the business relations specialist. So if you turn the page and you look at the table, what that does is it reduces your project funding. The very last item down there that says ED project funding, you were at 196,828. It reduced it to 178 by having that 1/8% pay for part of that position. But that's the number I was talking to you about earlier that Dr. Edwards had the question about. And it's like, certainly you could move that money around and you could pay for a position out of that and just pay for less projects. That's 100% a council decision that we will make happen, whatever you tell us to do. Special events did not change. This slide did not change. Parks. My only question on the parks is that somebody had mentioned a reserve, a place reserve for the space between Poss and Peachtree, and I think that was you, Councilor Alcocer.
Yes, and the reason I was interested in that is because in the town hall meeting in January, we talked about doing some things in that small parkland, and if we don't put it in the budget, it'll be a year and a half or so before anything is done, and I'd like to maybe put a placeholder for 50 or 60,000 in that to see what can be done if possible, instead of putting it off for another year or two.
Okay, I just saw Vicki noting that, so we'll start working with some numbers and see what we can do.
Thank you.
50 or 60, right?
Yes.
Okay, yes, ma'am. We'll get that done. And then expenditures, I think we've already gone through all of that. Nothing changed for the capital items and parks. We've already talked about those. Nothing changed as far as the pool contract goes. Library expenditures, nothing changed from last time. Nope. And nothing changed on this slide as well. $5,000 for new books. And then we skip right on into the enterprise fund. Budget is balanced here as well with revenues of almost $4.4 million, operating expenses of $4.1, and capital of about $950,000. There's the slide that the mayor likes. She likes to see, since it's an enterprise run and should be run in a business, she wants to see what we're selling. And so that's what we're selling, and that's who we're selling it to. The light blue is the residential, and the dark blue is a commercial. Water and sewer fund budget summary, that did not change from your last presentation. Operating revenue did not change. General administrative expenses did not change, nor did this page. Water expenditures did not change, and that slide did not change either. Under your capital items, the only thing I do want to bring to your attention is there was a couple of questions about the purchasing of water rights. I just want to remind you that comes from impact fees. That was started in 1996 or 1997, and that is legislatively regulated, so we don't have a choice. But then we got into whether $175,000 was for 1 or 2 generators, and were they permanent or were they not permanent? So I believe the correct answer is up there. I wanted Melinda to shake her head because there was a lot of confusion over this one. That's for 1 permanent generator for the Grass Hill website, and that is the price. And I could go into the variable frequency drive panels and act like I know what I'm talking about, but I don't. Melinda just says we need it. Sewer expenditures, that's, of course, passed through, and it didn't change from last time. The expenditure category did not change from last time. Capital did not change from last time. You all do that every year. Stormwater expenditures did not change. The categories did not change. None of the capital items changed. The community center fund, $145,000 in revenues, $144,000 in expenditures, $13,200 for the kitchen remodel did not change. That slide did not change. That slide did not change. Crime Control and Prevention District, the budget is currently balanced. You have operating revenues of $292,360 and expenditures of $347,833. The only way we can say that that budget is balanced is because if you look on the next page, we have a fund balance. Otherwise, we would have to do something different. This funds 1 police captain, 1 patrol officer, and 1 investigation sergeant. Last presentation, I told you what the plans were to fix the depleting fund balance in the Crime Control and Prevention grant or funds, and I really didn't get a feel from the council as to that the direction they wanted to go or not. But that was a staff plan, was to eliminate in FY19, remove 1 officer to the Tier 2 traffic in the red light camera, and then in FY20, move the captain to a lower paying position so that you don't completely deplete your fund balance in there. Under street maintenance, that stayed the same. We zero that out every year. They've never used it all every year, but she has it available to her. Special revenues, that did not change. Special revenue funds, your capital items, that did not change. Just don't forget on the police forfeiture, that's not a true number because we don't really know what our percentage is going to be on any given forfeiture case that we have. That's, you want to talk about a, anyway, it's a guess. So personnel funds the merit pay system, which allows each employee a 2% merit increase on their date of hire if they qualify, which means if they have a good evaluation or an acceptable evaluations. It also funds longevity pay for all qualifying full-time city employees, $4 every month for service to the city. That's paid out annually in November to every city employee. We kept this slide in here just so you will keep it percolating in your minds that this is now, if we go up to 7% retirement, this is going to be the one place that you're definitely not marketable. And so next year we would come back with a proposal to attempt to fix this. Then you're right in the middle of the game. Personnel funds the retirement system. And we did get a consensus to bring this back today for first reading, which we will have later on. It funds it at 7% instead of 6%, and that slide or those numbers did not change. Next slide shows the retirement rates by city. That it glares at me that you're not marketable in your retirement rate system, so we've got to fix that. But we fix salaries first, one thing at a time. Personnel, 1.5% cost of living adjustment. It definitely looks like your cost of living which is projected by the Department of Labor is going to be more than that. But we only did a 1.5% so that we could fit the 7% retirement in there. The CPI that we have pulled up for you there ended in March, and it was already at 2.24, and you see what's happening right now in the country and in the world, and I think that probably the CPI will go up even a little bit more, but we've left it for the staff at 1.5 so that we can get that, the staff prefers the 7% instead of the cost of living. So as we present the proposed budget, we've not received the final cost for the city's health insurance program. We still have in there a 17% increase in the proposed budget. When we get the final approval, we'll come back to you and let you know.
Do you know when to expect that? Is it going to be before we approve the budget, or?
No, y'all typically don't have it before y'all approve the budget. Correct. Y'all don't have it until you get it in September? First meeting in September typically.
Okay, thank you.
So what we just hope is that it doesn't go over the 17%. And then personnel, the proposed budget includes funding for the city's medical insurance program. It provides medical, dental, vision, and life insurance coverage. Medical insurance is provided to your employees at no cost. The dependent insurance is paid by the employee. Christmas holidays are proposed there from December 21st to January 1st. It would require employees to use 2 days of their personal leave. The next step will be the Crime Control and Prevention District public hearing and budget adoption on August 21st at 5:30, and then a budget public hearing and a formal adoption of the budget and of the tax rate on August 21st, which would start at 6:00 p.m. That concludes the second workshop of the proposed budget for fiscal year 2019. And with that, I will stand for questions from either the council or the citizens.
Do you have anybody, questions that they haven't asked or comments that they haven't made? Yes, Councilor Martinez.
The one item I keep on coming back to is under Public Works for the street sweeper. I just cannot get comfortable with that item. To me, it's spending $200,000 for a unit that's going to be used 3 days a week. Average cost is going to be about $1,000 in personnel costs to run that thing for every month. So it's going to be sitting idle for 27 days a month. I think, a street sweeper, I can just envision it, that's just a money pit. It's going to be a lot of maintenance, a lot of upkeep, and it's going to cost us a heck of a lot more money than if we just kept our contract. Right now we've spent $34,000, if I remember off the top of my head, and they sweep our streets quarterly. Mm-hmm. Going to a monthly is just, I think it's just, we're going to find out that it's going to cost us a heck of a lot more money in maintenance costs than contracting it out.
So Councilor Alcacer, Councilor Martinez, I did have Melinda look into leasing a street sweeper. I forwarded that information, and she can give you a little update on what she found out.
I wasn't going to comment on the leasing, but what I was going to comment on is this is not the type of street sweeper that Mr. Smith had thought it was. This is a mechanical street sweeper, so it has way less problems. It's also got the warranty and the maintenance. We wouldn't just use it for street sweeping. We also would use it for our construction projects to sweep the streets after we've done like a sewer project or a main project or one of those. So it would get a lot more use than just only street sweeping.
And regarding what he said 3 days a week, and then he subtracted 3 from 30 and got 27. Would it be used 3 days a week or 3 days a month?
It would be used a week out of each month. We would do it monthly.
Week out of each month.
Just for street sweeping.
Just for that, okay.
You mentioned it would take 3 days to sweep the whole city from the last presentation. That's where I came up with the 3 day. Now you're saying it's going to take a week.
It could take between 3 days and 5 days.
Okay, and so that comes out to An average employee, if I I'm just kind of guessing, is about $31.25 an hour with benefits. So figure that times 40 is how much it's going to cost us in just labor. So I figured it out for 3 days to be about over $930. So add 2 more days to that, it's going to be $1,200 in labor costs.
And then plus, we would also use it at the construction sites.
Anybody else from
Yes.
council? Yes, sir.
I had a question for Belinda. I'm sorry.
It's part of the exercise program.
You said it, what's the contractor? How often do they come down through the city?
We do street sweeping 6 times a year right now, and I believe the costs are at $35,000 a year.
6 times a year. So
Yes, sir.
we're able to do it at construction sites to clean up any mess that's made, as well as do it at your discretion.
On a regular schedule, yes, sir.
Right, on a regular schedule when
The other
season
problem-
changes or leaves change or people are putting their stuff out and cut grass and all that kind of stuff is out into the streets or the leaves blown all over the place, which gets into our water systems and so forth and so on. So it'll give us the discretion to be able to use it on a more frequent basis whenever we needed to keep the city even that much more cleaner.
Yes, sir. In addition to that, one of the features on that model specifically is that it picks up more, it's got a bigger capacity, and it gets close to the curb. It's got curb cameras. Right now we use Alamo Lot Maintenance. They do not have that machine, and one of the complaints we get is they're not doing a good job because they're not getting close to the curb.
Okay, all right, thank you, ma'am.
And what was the time frame for that machine? For how long do you project it can last?
Oh, I don't remember. I put it on the sheet, I believe. 20 years. 20 years.
Okay, so that comes to 10,000 a year average for the equivalent. Okay, thank you. I had a question for Maribel Mendoza. Is she available? Okay, it was just an update on the progress. I guess we can hear that at the end. The difference between the funds that will be used for the July 4th. She was giving me some information today that I thought was important, but it isn't, it can wait for the next meeting.
Okay.
So anybody from the audience have any questions or comments? Yes, sir.
Uh-oh, trouble's here.
If you'll state your name and the city where you live.
Yes, my name is Edwin Mosqueda, and I live in San Antonio. And I am a student of our city manager, and I'm very happy to be here. My question is, you guys have a question about the economic development position and the costs associated with that economic development position. I would like to know if there's been a study to see how much that position would generate for the city, and if so, will it offset his salary or, be a benefit to the city of Leon Valley? What kind of studies you guys have looked at?
Okay, and Kelly, if you can also say we've had the economic development director in the past, and they.
Absolutely. So, Edwin, we have definitely had a study done, but the study that was done was a license plate study, which tells you who's coming through Leon Valley and who's stopping in Leon Valley. And so that's the study that we got done. Leon Valley has been through several economic development directors, and sales taxes continue. Right now, the economic development director is me, and I use Mr. Morgan and Ms. Maribel Mendoza to help me. And sales tax increased by 2% last year. So the answer is no. Has that particular study been done? No, but we have had an agency do what's called a license plate study here for Leon Valley, and we've also had directors in the past.
Anybody else?
I couldn't hear what the question was that the citizen posed.
The question was has there been a study done regarding an economic development director and how it could benefit the city? Is that more or less correct, sir?
How much it would generate if you guys had an economic development?
The amount of funds it would generate if we had an economic development director.
I think part of
And the answer was a study has not been done?
that's correct.
Other than the license plate study?
It was done several years ago, yeah. Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Did you want to add something, Ms. Kinsler?
I forgot.
Okay.
Must not have been important.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, sir.
With
Just a minute, we can't hear you. Just a minute,
30.
can't hear you. Try again.
Was there an executive city council meeting held at 5:30?
It's off topic, but yes, sir, there was.
My question is, why wasn't I allowed to participate?
Go ahead. Do you want me to explain?
Yes.
Okay, so the issue that we were having was Barcom could not set you up the way they were setting you up in this room and then set you up off of my phone as well. And so there was no way technically they could take you into the other room. Did I explain it right?
We had to literally, and he's frozen right now.
Yeah.
Crystal, can you step to the mic, please? Thank you.
Barcom, did I explain that right? Okay, just making sure.
So Dr. Edwards, you would have had to log off of the GoToMeeting app, and then the city manager would have had to FaceTime you in. However, the requirements by law are still into place, so therefore we would have to transmit, and you can't see all the equipment that we have out here right now. I'll be more than happy to take a picture and send it to you. We would have had to take what was here and transport it into the other room. And so we could not physically do that. And at the time, we literally were working to get you up and running 2 seconds before the meeting started.
Okay, I don't want to belabor the point, but, it was clear that I was going to try to Skype or Facebook in, and then that there was an issue on Thursday. So does this mean that for here and for ever after, that if somebody tries to FaceTime or Skype in, they cannot participate in an executive city council meeting?
Dr. Edwards, this is Denise. We're totally off topic at this point. We have to stay on the agenda. If you would like to discuss it further, Kelly, Crystal, and I would be happy to discuss it with you after the meeting or tomorrow or next week sometime or whenever you get back, but we have to get back on the topic.
Okay, I would just like to make a closing comment. I feel like I'm kind of being...
Councilor Edwards, Councilor Edwards,
I feel like I'm being kept from participating in the meeting because of technical problems that the city should take care of.
Is there anything further?
Okay, noted, Councilor. Mayor Pro Tem, can we get back on the agenda, please?
Yes, ma'am. Any further discussion or questions or comments on the budget?
For your work for 5 days.
Thank you. Then we're moving on to item 3, the city manager's report. You still are there, Ms. Kinsler?
Yes, I'm coming.
Mayor Pro Tem, Alcacer Council, citizens. Very, very short supplemental manager's report. The mayor has called for a special meeting for the city manager evaluation for Monday, September 17th at 5:30 p.m. And she wanted to make sure that you all were available. And she would like to see if we can, there's a consensus.
September what?
On that. September 17th at 5:30 p.m.
And what was this for?
City manager evaluation.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
This is annual.
I couldn't quite hear. Are you asking if people are available?
Yes, if there's a consensus.
I'm good.
Let me check.
Okay.
This regular annual review of the city managers.
Yes, Counselor Jordan, it would be.
Thank
That's
you.
correct, because the hire date was September 21st.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, what time was it? 5:30 on the 17th?
September 17th at 5:30, Dr. Edwards.
Okay, I'm available.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and get that calendared, okay? And then, second of all, the Texas Municipal League has recognized the city of Leon Valley for our audit program and the benefits of our audit program. And we actually have others duplicating our audit program right now. And we are the feature small city in the Texas Town and City magazine. So I want to commend the police department, the fire department, community development, codes, public works, everybody that's been a part of this team. I mean, to be the small city feature for Texas Town and City is pretty cool. And that this is something that we developed just a few years ago. And I love it. I love that you guys work as a team. And obviously somebody else took note. And so congratulations to all of you. Thank you. Also, Barcom, I think it was, asked me to make sure that I notify for those, because we have people live streaming from home, if it's coming in and out. And the reason is because we're using all of our bandwidth right now to Skype in, or to, I don't know what the word is. Video conference in Dr. Edwards. And so users at home, it's going to be choppy. Just because of the lack of bandwidth at City Hall. So just wanted to make sure we reported that and that we're aware of it. There's just nothing we can do about it right now. That really is the only two supplemental things that I had for the city manager's report.
Okay. Any questions or comments for the manager? Thank you. Then we'll move on to item 5, announcements by the mayor and council members. Councilor Rodriguez.
I just want to tell everybody thank you for coming tonight, and thank you for some of my students from CERT last night. It was a good experience. Thanks.
And Councilor Martinez.
Not at this time.
Councilor Jordan.
Yes, just like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Also notice that we have a couple of new businesses that popped up in the city, and I see new signs and so forth, and I see the city highlights changing for the positive when you drive down Bandera Road with the sign and facade program and the new paint on the facilities. It's starting to look nice, and we can tell the difference in the hard work that they've done through the audit program and the economic development departments in making our city attractive for future business. So thanks to everyone that's involved.
Councilor Edwards.
Nothing further at this time.
Okay, I'll just say maybe we aren't allowed to take vacations anymore because it's too difficult to get us involved. Anyway, thank you for coming, and please be kind to one another. Moving on to item 6, the consent agenda. Does anyone want to remove any item from the consent agenda for any reason?
Number E.
Is that 1E?
Yes, 1E.
Special and regular meeting July 17, 2018 at 5:30?
Yes.
Okay. Any other item?
Is there something wrong with that item, or?
Can we have a motion on the remainder of the consent agenda, please?
I so move.
that we approve it?
Yes.
Okay.
I second.
We have a motion from Councilor Jordan and a second from Councilor Rodriguez to approve consent agendas items 6, 1, 2, and 3 with the exception of 6, 1E. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. No objection. The motion is approved as requested. So now moving to consent agenda, item 6.1E, special and regular meeting, July 17, 2018, 5:30 p.m. Councilor Martinez.
In that minutes, Mr. Yarnell contacted me, and he would like to have his letter as read during the meeting attached to the minutes instead of a reference to it.
Ms. Pasale, can you, or?
I'm going to defer to Ms. Postley about that.
What is your normal procedure for handling minutes, please?
When an item is submitted to the city secretary to be part of the record, it is noted in the minutes that that has occurred. I believe that was done. The minutes for that meeting did state that Mayor Riley read aloud the letter. And then those minutes are put with the hard copy of the approved minutes, and they're archived.
And they're not normally in the written minutes, but they are in the recorded minutes. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and when you have an attachment that isn't applicable to the item, is that ever put in that particular item for the minutes?
No, Mayor Pro Tem, the citizens' comments are usually very, they spoke in favor of, opposed of, or whatever, but we don't do them verbatim. And if it's off topic, then it's just noted that it was mentioned.
Okay.